Hi everybody, welcome back. It's been a short break over Christmas and New Year, so let's dive straight back in. This is chapter 9, the straw that broke the camel's back. This is the chapter about hope, and hope again, and hope again, until there's nothing left. This is about being told you have a beautifully healthy reproductive system and then watching your ovaries become a ghost town. It's about sitting alone in the waiting room in tears while the only person you need is outside in the car, not allowed to come in. This one is hard, but if you're on this roller coaster right now, you need to know you're not alone. Let's talk about it. Chapter 8 ended with the biggest decision I'd ever faced. What am I willing to do to have a child? Is it donor eggs, adoption? How far would I push it? When would be enough? I'd broken down on a bench outside Marco's family home. I'd offered him a way out. And he said he'd do whatever I was comfortable with, just as long as it was with me. We decided to contact a UK fertility clinic. We booked a virtual consultation for the 30th of June 2020. Hope was returning. Barely, but it was there. There were little flickers. The end of June, the fertility clinic hosted a virtual open day. COVID had made some things more accessible, so we could attend them from Sicily. We'd listen to them talk about what they did, how they did it, why they did it, and then we booked a preliminary consultation. But before all that, we took advantage of tourist-free Italy, the Valley of the Temples with barely a soul in sight, the Spanish Steps in Rome with about 6 people on them. It was incredible. My hair was going back, my bowels were behaving, and we had a positive consultation after that. Like, hope was creeping back in. We headed back to the UK in early July. This time, thank God, we got the ferry back instead of another 30-hour marathon drive home. A week later, we had our first consultation at the clinic. Now, I was very COVID cautious. Mask constantly, organic hand sanitizer, latex gloves. Looking back, maybe I was a little overcautious, but COVID felt like another obstacle that just threatened our chances. Someone close to me asked why we didn't just do donor eggs. The statistics would be better, more in our favour. But you know what? I just wanted one chance with my own eggs. The first scan was the 13th of July. I had a few eggs, not loads, but remember, it's quality, not quantity. But what I had done was ovulate. The doctor could see the corpus luteum, and I had a viable womb lining. In her words, I had a beautifully healthy reproductive system. Like, I nearly skipped out of the clinic. The blood tests that we had to have came back good. My FSH and LH were back down to fertility clinic treating levels. My estrogen was amazing. My AMH was 0.4, not great, but I knew people who'd succeeded with lower. And it's a good thing to note here that this was the first time I'd had bloods taken when my bowels were good. Like, hope and positivity reigned. But my cycle still didn't show up. A few weeks later, another scan. Hope had been dwindling. Fewer eggs this time. My womb lining had shrunk back, but the scan confirmed it. I wasn't crazy. I was still cycling. My body just wasn't letting go. So the doctor prescribed progesterone tablets to kick-start it. Hope and positivity reigned again. I remember walking on Devil's Dyke with a good friend of mine, bubbling with positivity, just babbling away. Like this was it. I'd menstruate and all would be well again with my little corner of the world. I had no doubts in my mind. After the tablets had finished, my cycle would arrive and that would be it. My cycle did arrive, and I never thought I'd be so happy to see it. But I was. It was the first one in over a year. And then I booked my first IVF cycle scan for the 27th of July. Like, exciting. It was just a couple of days before my 42nd birthday. When we got there, my ovaries were quiet. Estrogen low, LH high, not a good start. But I wasn't quite ready to let go of hope. I have tenacity pouring out of my eyeballs. If there's like a little modicum of hope, I will find it and I will hold on to it. And it's necessary on this journey, but it's also exhausting. You just go through this cycle after cycle of hope and crushing disappointment until you reach a resolution, whatever that looks like, and it might not be how you pictured it. I had my birthday on the beach with close friends because obviously wanted to be outside in the air. And on the way down, I was ranting about not being heard, about the challenges, the stress, the uncertainty, not being listened to or taken seriously. I was angry, really angry. And Marco tried to comfort me. Everything will be fine. And that just made me angrier. My reaction annoyed him. Obviously, I'd previously told him that that was all that I needed to know that everything would be okay, and a hug. In that moment, I'd forgotten what I'd said, and his response didn't satisfy me. See, it's difficult for the people around you. Marco was my unwavering rock, but he was in uncharted territory, and it was difficult for him. He was trying to empathize with something that he had no reference point for. This journey is unique to you. How you feel, what you need, how you react, it changes constantly. It's unpredictable, even to you. So it's really difficult for those closest to you to know what to say in that moment. I had a follow-up scan a few weeks later. My ovaries were still quiet, and I'd been frantically researching what could be the problem: PCOS, amenorrhea. And when I got there, I asked the fertility doctor, like, what could be happening? She just shrugged. And that's when it crystallized for me. Fertility doctors are specialists in getting you pregnant. There are any other underlying issues, they don't know, or it's not in their remit. Right? We were back to square one, back to Google. Marco found the Period Repair Manual by Lara Breeden. Now, if you're on this journey, like, read it, even if you just think your period is off. I emailed Jessica, my homeopath, like maybe I needed to balance my hormones. I was worried about ovarian fatigue, which was the latest concern from my research. Jessica wanted me to stop both medications. I wanted to give my body a break. after 2 years of optimization. My cycle didn't come again, so I booked another scan. My ovaries were a ghost town. I was left sitting in the waiting room alone. Marco wasn't allowed in because of COVID. I had to wait for a nurse to come and talk to me. So I was sat there alone and in tears. The nurse told me the fertility doctor didn't see the point in continuing. She wanted to talk to me about donor eggs. It really wasn't the time for that talk. I was absolutely crushed, in pieces on the floor, and the only person I wanted next to me, who I needed to be comforted and held by, was sitting out in the car and not allowed to come in. I was exhausted, physically and emotionally, by the roller coaster of the last few months, the last more than a year. I was on the floor again, and I had to pick myself back up yet again. This was the 1st of October, and the final slap, the clinic held back £500 for a cancelled cycle, even though that we'd paid for everything up until that point, all the scans, all the bloods, everything. I had to argue that it was the doctor who cancelled the cycle before they'd refund me. But this isn't where the story ends. It was Huri, my acupuncturist, who helped Marco pick me up this time. She introduced the idea of medicinal mushrooms and recommended somebody who pointed me towards Dr. Trevor Wing at the Women's Natural Health Clinic. We made an appointment for the 15th of October. So that's the end of this chapter. In the next chapter, we'll talk about finding somebody who finally looks beyond FSH, somebody who said the words I've been desperate to hear. Your estrogen is too high to be in menopause. We'll talk about 6 months of super clean living, more diet amendments and mindset works, the trepidation and determination to try everything. We'll talk about the vaccine question during fertility treatment. And we'll talk about the final appointment. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're going through cycle after cycle of hope and disappointment right now, if you're exhausted from picking yourself up again and again, if you've sat alone getting devastated news, I see you. The tenacity is exhausting. The hope is exhausting. Having to be your own cheerleader when you're on the floor is exhausting. But you're not alone. Your voice deserves to be heard. Always. Subscribe for the next chapter. Drop a comment if this resonates. Hit like if this resonates. And please be kind to yourself. This journey is brutal enough without beating yourself up for needing what you need. Take care, and I will see you next week.